grew up a little too fast. I miss the days that we chill and relax. Where did the time go? It all passed, now I need to go back. I had no worries but always had plans. Only thing I did was pick out the trash. Now it's much harder to laugh, hard to get up and not work on my craft. I need inspiration, don't need no validation. No more medication, just try some meditating. I don't need you to save me, feel like all of you hate me. Everything's been so hard with all the situations lately. I just need to numb the pain.
Hello everybody and welcome to NASMAR Richmond Raceway. This track was built specifically for the NASMAR Community Cup Series, which sure is a good thing because here we are today for the next round of the NASMAR Community Cup Series. Approaching the playoffs, this summer Richmond date will be crucial for these drivers, especially the ones without wins who want to try to punch their way in with a little bit of short track action. Some of those notable drivers include a lot of the Toyota drivers without wins, but first we have to look at our pole sitter Denny Hamlin. Not only did he win this race in the spring for NASMAR, he was third fastest in practice, and he stuck it on the pole in qualifying. He looks like the car to beat currently. Martin Truex Jr. can never be counted out when we come to Richmond. Toyota's always good here. He said he was very balanced on the long runs especially. Lots of Toyotas around him are going to help him today. And then Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch were both great here in the spring. And speaking of the spring, let's have a quick recap of that race before we get our action started today.
Green and set sail for 3 stages. Green flags in the air, and Joey Logano will take the early lead as he sat on pole. Bumper to the back of the 22. Up the track goes the 22 and 11 goes to the lead, and he will lead lap 1. For the lead, Kyle Busch going to go on the outside. He's going to stick, and there goes Hamlin by him, and there goes Busch to the lead. Comes Larson to the outside chassis. Oh, Briscoe's in the wall into Byron, and he's going to try to get there in Byron. Oh, there he goes. Oh, Hamlin flies up, and Harvick gives the bumper to the 8 car. Here comes that 4 car marching to the front. Side by side for the lead. Kevin Harvick's going to take the lead. Hamlin with the run. He's going to go to the outside, now to the inside. Now diving down in turns 1 and 2. Hamlin's going to clear. Harvick does a crossover. 2. Out the track goes Hamlin. In the wall. Harvick sideways. Drag race to the line. Hamlin's going to win at Richmond.
The Last Lap Racing Network put on a great show at Richmond in the spring, and now I take it upon myself to provide just as good of a show here in the summer race. We are just about to go racing here at Richmond. The cars are getting ready to fire their engines, and we will start stage 1 right after this commercial break. I have kept you all waiting long enough. Here it is, time for the cars to roll and you to get your starting lineup for the NASMAR Community Cup Series race at Richmond. Denny Hamlin and Christopher Bell are going to start on row number 1. Row number 2 is going to consist of Ryan Blaney and William Byron. Starting in row 3 is Chase Elliott and Joey Logano. Following them is Daniel Suarez and Martin Truex Jr. in the 8th position. Row number 5 is the teammates at 23-11, Tyler Reddick and Bubba Wallace. Row number 6 is Alex Bowman and surprisingly fast Rick Ware entry, Ryan Newman. Kyle Larson and Kevin Harvick start in row 7, Kyle Busch and Ross Chastain in row 8, and the other Rick Ware entry also surprisingly high up the grid, JJ Yeley starting alongside Corey LaJoie in row number 9. Austin Dillon and Ryan Preece are starting in row number 10 as Todd Gilliland and Chris Buescher start behind them in row number 11. Row number 12 will be Ty Gibbs and Brad Keselowski, while row number 13 is Chase Briscoe and Ty Dillon. This week we have a special entry in the Product 91 car, Alex Palou, as IndyCar takes an off week. Beside him is Justin Haley. Noah Gragson and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. start in row number 15, Eric Jones and Harrison Burton in row 16. Row 17 is Zane Smith in a one-off start for the money team, and BJ McLeod is beside him. Row 18 is Michael McDowell and Austin Cindric, Chandler Smith and Austin Hill in row 19, and rounding out the field is Eric Almirola and AJ Allmendinger after missing qualifying. Now we get to today's race info. It's going to be a 20-lap race with the stage breaks at laps 6 and 12, so that'll be 6, 6, and 8 lap segments. It is a full 40-car field. Toyotas look very good. Playoffs are approaching. Drivers may get desperate. The fans are on their feet, cheering And the cars are going through the restart zone. Green flag, Denny Hamlin gets a great jump on the field. Powering down into turn one. It's going to be Christopher Bell trying to get that second spot around the outside of Ryan Blaney as we see the whole field fly through Richmond for the first time, and Chris Buescher's up into the wall. We'll go back and look at that in a moment. In the meantime, Denny Hamlin takes us onto lap 2, now starting to stretch his lead over Christopher Bell a little bit more as the front couple get single filed out. Here comes Chase Elliott for a dive-bomb move on his teammate William Byron, though, as now we see the replay of Chris Buescher's accident. It looks like he gets knocked up the racetrack in turn 1 by Todd Gilliland. Just not enough room on the inside. Chris Buescher may be coming down a little bit too much, as Ryan Newman is just flying by people in that 51 entry. Rick Ware Mason Russell hit the setup right today, as now BJ McLeod gets in front of the leaders, and Christopher Bell uses him as a pick, bumps him up into Hamlin. Christopher Bell using a very sly move, using the lap traffic as a pick to go by Denny Hamlin for the lead at Richmond. That could get him the stage win here. Hamlin might not have enough to get back at him, as we've got a log jam in the back, probably due to that falling lap traffic. Something wrong with the 78 machine. That is causing a lot of jam-ups back in the field. But now we're on the final lap of stage number 1. Christopher Bell pulling out an even bigger lead. It's going to be the 20 car for the stage win. Very clean first stage here for a short track racing later in the season, but it is Christopher Bell who will claim the stage win. Here's the results of the top 10. Amazing enough that Ryan Newman in the 51 was able to get in there. Something on those Rick Ware cars is different today. This has been a great first stage of racing here. Don't go anywhere, because right after this break, we're going to get right back into the action with a fiery start to stage number 2.
Crash in turn number 2. David Rudiman hard into the wall. Contact in the contact made. Bell goes around. Bell going to save for the first time. Chase Elliott win in the Monster Energy Cup Series.
The NASMAR Community Cup Series is Watkins-Glen International, Sunday, August 20, 2:30 Eastern on the Mile Cup Series channel.
Before we get back racing, let's check in with Missouri Sports Network to see how drivers are moving through the field.
And if we take a look at the movement through the field, we can see Ty Gibbs up 11 spots, and he said over the radio how much he loves his car. Suarez Centric also up 11. Take a look on the other side of the line, we can see the losers group by far. JJ Haley down 16 spots. Said the crew over the radio he thinks the car might be having power and engine issues. Keep an eye on the 15.
Very interesting to hear that piece of news, as we've seen how well Ryan Newman's been able to hit this track. I wonder if there's something under those Rick Ware cars that just isn't sitting quite right. Either way, we go now to the choose cone, everyone selects their lanes, and we are ready to get stage 2 underway. We are back racing at Richmond Raceway. Christopher Bell gets a jump on Ryan Blaney, clears him by a full car length before getting into the corner. That's going to get him off to a good lead here. He has a good opportunity to sweep this race with how hard passing can be in the next gen era. Really depends on how aggressive these drivers want to be, and Christopher Bell gets very loose, and now Blaney forces the apron, both of them sliding around. Blaney's actually going to take that spot. Bell looks like he had a huge loose moment in turn 1. Can he get him back on the inside now? No, Blaney's going to cover him off down low. Can he defend it? Newman! His engine has gone up in flames, and Ty Gibbs hard into the back of the 51 driver. The very suspicious entry under Rick Ware finally blows up. Kyle Larson is a victim. Ty Gibbs got it the worst. What a incident. That engine just absolutely expired. No doubt about it. Smoke pouring out of the exhaust out of the back of the car. Ty Gibbs nowhere to go, with Chastain forcing the issue down on the apron. I guess it really is Chastain's fault. Kyle Larson had nowhere to go either. He looks like he's down on flats, so he's going to have to get towed back to the pits and lose all of his track position. Ryan Newman, the Rocket Man, has blown up in front of the entire field. And now all of that is getting cleaned up. What a big incident there. Kyle Larson getting towed back into the pits. He's going to start at the very back of the field. And the stage is going to end under caution, going to the 12 of Ryan Blaney. And here are the rest of your stage results. A much shorter stage 2 than we were initially expecting, and ending under very suspicious circumstances. But either way, it's been a good race so far. We'll be right back after these commercial breaks to finish it all out with stage number 3. Welcome back to Richmond. The cars have been cleaned up, put into the garages, and the field is about to shake the choose cone. But before we send them back out to the drivers, we're going to check in with movement through the field for the second stage and see who's performing well and who maybe is not.
So far, cars moving through the field: Austin Cedric +9, Christopher Buescher +6. The RFK cars have been running very comfortable in traffic, and Alex Pillow +6. And down there, Denny Hamlin -1, Tyler Reddick -3, Kyle Larson -21. Larson spun, but still has the speed in the 5 car.
Thank you to MLCS for that. We're going to see if Kyle Larson can come through the field, but with only a couple laps left, 8 to be exact, with the green flag in the air, we'll have to see what he can do. Ryan Blaney doesn't get as good of a jump as the Toyotas had on their initial starts. Denny Hamlin gets pushed way up the track and makes contact with Chase Elliott. And now Chase Elliott puts Hamlin in the wall a little bit. And Chase Elliott hard into the outside wall. We've seen this story before. Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin tangle, and that is a hard impact. Ryan Blaney gets away well in turn 1, but Hamlin gets knocked up the track, collides with Chase Elliott. Elliott gives him very little room, and that looks like Denny Hamlin might have turned down way early into the corner. That is not where you see cars traditionally start to turn in. I don't know what excuse Denny Hamlin has for this one, but after everything that happened last week and 2, this seems like it could have been an intentional spin. Look at what happened last week at Pocono. Chase Elliott misses the apex of the corner a little bit, gets into Hamlin, wrecks him for the win. Could this be payback? And if it was, that was a big hit for Chase Elliott into the outside wall. You see how he straightens out a little bit after he hits him. It is going to be very hard to argue this one for the 11 team. Chase Elliott getting cleaned up now. The real question is, did he deserve it after last week? Now the cars will take the choose cone once again. We are going to resume with just a couple of laps left in the last stage. After the caution it took to clean up Chase Elliott, his day is absolutely done, and the 11 still has a chance to contend for the win, maybe get one back on Chase Elliott for what happened last week. Nevertheless, we are ready to go racing. We're only going to have 3 to go at the line, and the green flag is out, and Blaney does not get away well again. Both Toyotas right on him, but he'll get clear going into turn number 1. But Christopher Bell's going to have a good run out of 2. They get single file for the top 3. Kyle Busch looking inside of Denny Hamlin, but it's Ryan Blaney right now at the point, coming to 2 to go at Richmond Raceway. On board with Christopher Bell as he's going to start in the corner high, try the switch over, and he's going to get to the inside of Blaney just barely. He's going to have that inside preferred groove into 3 and 4. Blaney's going to just hang on to the outside, almost in the wall, white flag in the air. Can Blaney do anything from that outside lane? And Bell gets loose again. Kyle Busch tries the inside, but Hamlin and Bell both hold him up, and it's going to be the 20 car getting his first win of the NASCAR Community Cup Series season. And we've got a wreck further in the back. We're going to have to check and see what that is for a minute. But that was an incredible finish. Bell able to hold on to a clearly getting worse race car. You saw it get loose in the second stage as well. Now we go over the keys to victory for Christopher Bell. First and foremost was matching this start with Ryan Blaney, being able to get in the position to try the crossover move there in 2. And then with that inside lane, even though he gets loose, he's able to turn down the corner and just block the run Kyle Busch would have had. And that secures the 20, a playoff spot for NASMAR in 2023. Now let's check out this wreck. Oh man, Kyle Larson has moved up the field that far. I believe in the 3 laps we were green, he moved up into the top 15 and then bumped Ross Chastain up into the 2 car. No room to go 4 wide here in the corners at Richmond. And that is going to cost Cindric and Reddick quite dearly. It cost them a few positions. And now, Christopher Bell is going to burn it down here at Richmond Raceway. He is your winner. here in Virginia.
I know we grew up a little too fast. I miss the days that we chill and relax. Where did the time go? It all passed. Now I need to go back. I had no worries, but always had plans. Only thing I did was pick out the trash. Now it's much harder to laugh. Hard to get up and not work on my craft. Y'all just need to numb the pain for a minute. I just wanna run away on vacation. I don't know what else to say now. I just need to numb the pain.
Congratulations to the 20 car, Christopher Bell, for winning an action-packed race at Richmond Raceway. He has burned it down on the track, tread marks showing very vividly on this slowly aging surface here at Richmond. As we look over the results, Christopher Bell gets the win. Some other notable finishers, Denny Hamlin falls down to 5th. Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, Logano had to work his way back up to the field. Both RFK cars worked their way pretty far up. And Kyle Larson comes all the way back up to 12th. Cindric will fall back to 16th after that incident. Tyler Reddick fell back pretty far as well as we get to the later half of the field here. Alex Palou ended up rallying late, making a couple positions in that last stage, finishing 25th after riding the back most of the race. And you can see the 4 DNF drivers there as well. Tough breaks for all of them, especially Chase Elliott. Ty Gibbs being caught up in bad spot. I'm sure both of them would have loved to have good days. As now the confetti rains down on Christopher Bell here in Richmond, and has he earned it? Having to deal with a loose race car in the closing laps, he was able to hold off Ryan Blaney. Thank you everybody so much for watching my race here at Richmond. This was by far the fastest I've ever gone through a major project like this, and it is probably one of the projects I'm most proud of. It's this and the Pepsi 200, right up there. This was so fun to do. It was so fun to be in a NASMAR race, to make this track, and what a track this is. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. It's so big, I don't know where to put it. But this is by far my best racetrack to made, and I'm so happy I got to share it with all of you. And thank you for the support, for the 450 subscribers that I gained by just showing this track off, and now hopefully you've enjoyed a fantastic race on Richmond's Banks. I don't know when I'll be getting to do something like this again. I do have NASCAR Legends Series stuff coming eventually, but no exact timeline due to college and all some other stuff. I will say I have 2 of those races filmed, they just need to get edited. You'll really like the second one, you won't like the first one. Thank you everybody so much for watching my NASMAR race at Richmond, and I hope you all have a good night.